Good evening, everybody, and welcome again to another edition of the Coach's Corner. With me, as always, is the coach, Ian Bain. We're coming to you live from the Railroad Republic House right here in Franklin Shopping Plaza. Come down every Wednesday night, 5:45, see us do the show. Come down every Friday night before every home game. Enjoy a tailgate experience with a lot of good people. Come down anytime you want. Just go to the Railroad Republic House and tell them we sent you here. All right, Coach. Not the greatest result last week. Duxbury 31-21, I believe. Game of a lot of big plays. Hard to coach against that. Both ways.
Yeah, I mean,
we had some. They had a.
And there's really there's a few ways that we really break down games. Obviously, the final score is the number one thing, right? Success on third down, success in the red zone, and then explosive and big plays. And big plays wise, we were fairly equal with them. We had just as many as they did. We knew they were very capable. We knew and we know that we are very capable of explosive big plays. So we kind of thought that would happen. Same thing when we played Wachusett and Brockton. When you play really talented teams with great athletes, that's going to happen. So I didn't think we were, we like to limit our big plays by opponents to under 6. So really looking 5 or less. And that's assuming, though, that we're getting more than 12.
Right.
And I think we were both around 7. So we didn't really hit our mark, but we didn't hold them to what we would expect either. And, what we're talking about there is like runs over 15 yards, passes over 20 yards. And obviously everybody has a little different metric on how they measure explosives. There was a lot, but it was kind of both teams, and we sort of thought that could happen.
Yeah, Walsh had those 2 big catches. Festa combined for 300 total yards, but we hit with the Brisky for 37. We hit Luke Davis for 49.
I do it all the time.
So it's right there. The one thing I was shocked about was the size and the speed and the athleticism of the wide receivers and the QB on the team.
Yeah, we knew the quarterback was a stud, and he was as advertised, and they did a really good job, I thought, designing runs for their quarterback. I mean, it's one thing to have a kid that can run, and I think there's a lot of high school kids that run well, but when you have good design, and they did some things that really put our team in conflict, and they did a very nice job of that, and their receivers were very talented as well.
After a game like that, is it do you sit down or after any loss whatsoever, do you sit down and do you say it was the game plan, maybe it was our preparation, or maybe it was in-game adjustments, or do you just say at times, is it just, hey, that team's just a good team?
Yeah, I don't think it's ever one thing. It's always a combination, and I think it's easy to second guess all those things. Certainly there were times in the game, looking back at it now, a call was not a good call on offense. But at the same time, I'll say that there have been times where not good calls ended up being great plays too. So it ends up washing.
Yeah.
I think the main thing with that game, when you really look at it, is we had 12 opportunities to get them off the field as a defense, and we succeeded 2 times. We had a 4th down where we tipped the pass, and we forced them to punt once. That was it. The other 10 times, whether it was 3rd down or and I'm not counting the 3rd down that turned to 4th and they picked up the 4th. The 3rd down situation that turned into 4th, they got the 1st down. Or, the 3rd down at midfield where they wouldn't have gone for it, we didn't get them off the field. So 12 opportunities we could have got the ball back via their punt team or turnover on downs, and we failed. And then on offense, we had 6 opportunities to keep drives going. We only succeeded twice, and both times we scored touchdowns. So, not that there's any one stat, but right after the game, I just had that feeling like this was a game where, and I didn't think they were 10 of 12. I was thinking they were maybe 8 of 12. But no, 10 of 12 in those opportunities, and we were 2 of 6. And
there was at least 2 or 3 3rd down and 11s where if we make a play, we're getting off the field, and we just didn't make the play.
Right.
That was, you allude to the one where I think we tipped the ball and break up the play going into the half, which stops it. They were driving.
The interception.
So it's huge. And then we forced them to punt coming out the gate. And then we turned the ball over 2 plays later. Do you feel the life going out of your team at that point, or do they still have the energy?
I don't think any time
Is
in
there a
life.
snake bitten feel?
No, I mean, I think doing this long enough, and obviously you've coached this as well very long. I've just seen so many weird things happen,
Sure.
whether you're up by a lot or down by a lot. And even after that fumble, we still went out and scored twice and made it 13 points. And they got the ball and it's 3rd and 13, and we had just called timeout. Like, we get a stop there, we got the ball back, and we got a chance to drive and maybe onside kick. So, I never really felt that way. And our kids, it's easy to say this, but like, players don't think the same as kids in the stands or parents in the stands.
No, not at all. Not at all.
You're so focused on your process down to down and doing the right thing. Like, that's the one thing about Franklin and our teams, and we've been on the wrong end of some, and we've been on the right end of some, but I don't think we've ever lost that passion to play, and I don't think I've ever felt our team deflate, and we've got our butts kicked a few times. And,
Sure.
And I don't think Friday was a butt kick, and I think it was a night where, a lot of things didn't go our way, and there were a lot of reasons for that, but I never felt that anybody gave up or felt deflated. I felt like we kept coming out with the same, zeal and effort.
Sure.
And so, it was just a tough the way that the score went.
And a football game's a lot different than a baseball game, where it's such a slow-paced game,
Right.
and you can think about every single thing that just happened. Football's just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I thought our two biggest plays, the rarely plays of the week, were the 37-yard Duxbury touchdown and the 49-yard Davis touchdown. It shocks me to this point, after all the film people have on Davis, that he's still able to get open. And the other thing about Duxbury is, and I said it last week, he just seems to go out there and is willing to get his head into everything and get involved in every play. Two great plays.
I think with both those kids, there's just intangibles that they have that so many players don't. So we get hung up a lot on like 40 times or what a kid could bench or squat or clean, and those two kids are very strong and they are very fast. They're super athletic, but and we have other kids that fit this category. But since we're talking about them, like even in the summer, there are kids that just seem to make plays, and the ball just seems to find them at the right time. And those are two kids, and I think we do a nice job of scheming them to get open. And I think Jace does a really good job of, going through his process, because they're not always the first option, and sometimes they are, and they get covered. But when he's able to hit the second and third options, you can't overcommit. Like last week against Brockton, when they adjust, or the week before when they adjusted, we hit Grayson for a big score,
Yep.
and every so often, Rubes will get a big play, kind of like. Rubes has kind of developed into the Will Shane role, where he's going to get a handful of chunk plays a game too, and then Mike keeps them honest on the ground. So, but those guys are doing a really good job. I think they're off to a good start, and we got to just keep that going.
So after a loss, you got to come up with a positive. What's the one positive you took away from this, or whatever positives you took away from this?
I just think that, like, when you watch the tape back, and I felt this at the time of the game, like, they beat us and they deserve to win. Absolutely nothing away from that. But, like, we're such a better team than we played. Like, we were not our best. It was just like a game where, the rhythm just never seemed to feel there on either side of the ball. And I don't know why that was. There's some things this week with different things, and so maybe we were a touch off. But like when you watch the tape, like we are a good team. And it never felt when we watched it back that we were overmatched. But it's also a good. I think the positive is like the lesson from it, which is if you don't have your best, you can and will get beat.
I didn't think we came out and laid an egg at all. I thought we played fine. I thought the big mismatch with the two big wide receivers. Again, our wide receivers are speed cover guys, and those are big physical wide receivers. Yeah. But overall, it is what it is. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some, and we're on to the next week. The next week is this week. It's 3 days from now, and it's at North Attleboro. The Hawk schedule starts. What do we know about North?
Well, their head coach, who's a good friend, he comes over from Attleboro High School, Mike Strachan. So, he's got a very good staff. So, it's not going to be maybe traditional North Attleboro, probably more similar, at least defensively, on special teams with Attleboro and things that they were doing. Obviously, some different wrinkles with the personnel that they have. Very big, talented team. North players are always very tough.
Sure.
Very good at establishing the run. They got a young quarterback who's got a very bright future and a very bright present as well. He's doing very good. Their coaches do a nice job getting them into good positions. And obviously Community Field's a great place to play, really cool environment.
I've got my own opinion of Community Field.
Yeah, well, it's unique. It's kind of like, I liken it to Fenway Park.
Have you ever coached a game there?
Not at night, actually, but during the day, being at Foxborough, and I've recruited there. I've been there at night plenty of times. But it's a very cool football atmosphere,
whether it's cool in that everybody's right on top of you, but at the same time, that's a bad thing. It just in coaching youth football with 50 parents and friends behind me, not 200 parents and friends behind me. The visitor side isn't the most spacious area in the world.
It's not. I'm sure our fans will give us lots of space so we can do our job on Friday.
Parents won't say anything.
But that's okay. No, they will. They'll be fine, and it'll be fine. I have a very great appreciation for football fields that don't have tracks.
Sure.
I think when they build football fields, the people that put tracks around them should be put in prison, because I hate it. I love anytime we go to a stadium and the stands are right there.
Yeah, you put your fans so far away.
That feels like a football environment,
Sure.
And there's a few college, coaching in college, a few college stadiums where you get to do that, a few high school stadiums where you get to do that. So I love that opportunity. I think it's a very cool feeling. So I'm excited for our kids to do that. Playing on grass at night.
I was going to say, when's the last time we played a grass game?
Since I've been here.
I know the JV, when we went to Foxborough, played a couple.
I'm trying to think if Braintree was grass when we went there. And I've coached at the old Attleboro Stadium before they turfed it, but I don't think with Franklin. But it's a cool experience. I'm sure you did, and I did. I played all on grass in high school.
Yeah.
Friday Night Lights on the grass is a little different feel to it. So it's exciting, and then obviously a great opponent as well. These are two really good teams in the Hawk. Our whole league is loaded right now, so every week we're going to say the same thing about another showdown and battle between two top programs.
Every year.
So, but it'll be a good opportunity, and we're excited for the game.
The atmosphere at the worst will be electric.
Oh, it's going to be great.
It'll be great. Okay, so that's it for us tonight. The coach, you can tell in his voice, is just coming back from missing last week. He'll be ready to go Friday night. I'll be ready to watch it Friday night, and we'll be back here next Wednesday to talk about it at the Raillery on the Coach's Corner. Till then, we'll see you.